of in your play action game of getting these guys to go down and try to get depth because they're great at it, what you want to do is get them to move laterally in your play action game. Now we want to go to this offense, right? Because in quarters, you really want to try to take aggressive safeties and make them pay. Now, first of all, Raiders, offset back, but underneath center. My question is, well, why is that happening? What they're going to do is this. They're going to basically switch the roles of the tailback and the wide receiver coming in motion. The back is going to be a guy that goes out to the flat on a chip on that tackle. They're going to ball fake jet motion to make these linebackers move laterally. They're trying to create the voids. And the pass concept is going to one we all know. 1 on the deep post, 2 on the crosser, 3 to the tailback. Now, I want everybody at home to pay attention to these guys right here when the ball fake happens. Ball fake on that jet motion happens. See how they move laterally right there? They're not moving vertically. I've now created a big void that I can go take advantage of. This is easy for a quarterback. I talked about 1, 2, 3. The read is this safety. If this safety decided to drive down, let's launch that post. If that safety hangs back, well, here comes that deep cross. Stidham sees it. There's a great pocket against the San Francisco rush. Bang, that's how you attack that defense. Now we go back to last week because Seattle does a good job. We know it's a copycat league of paying attention. All right, here's the Rams. They're in their quarters defense. San Francisco's going to play it. I'll go to the offense. Offset back. Everybody at home should know what's coming. Here comes that jet motion. Beautiful job. There's that ball fake, and it's the very same concept. You've got that deep post. Here comes the deep cross. The back is here, and you're trying to get that guy to move linebacker-wise horizontally. Now, Gino does an awesome job because this is the difference, the safety. Remember I told you if the safety drives down, we want to try to launch that post. That safety square, he's got an opportunity to launch the post. Gino sees it, and this is why I say Gino's thrown about as many perfect balls as anybody in the NFL right there. That's absolutely perfect.
For that throw.
This is a very difficult defense to try to attack. But I like the fact that I see Seattle pay attention to it and know in the play action game, you want to get those linebackers to go side to side rather than vertically.
That's such a good point, Dan. Such a good tape. You know who else had success doing that against San Francisco? The Kansas City Chiefs. And I can tell you, every team around the NFL is watching that tape and the Raiders tape and trying to learn lessons about how they created a bit of uncertainty for them. The other thing about quarters coverage that I think is really important and something you saw in the Raiders game is because essentially all of the defenders have to match receivers, it's hard to keep eyes on the quarterback. And that's why I think it's also paramount for Geno Smith to move in this game. You saw Jarrett Stidham do it, by the way, using his legs, just create on his own, but also to extend plays. And honestly, that's been one of Geno's best, perhaps most underrated qualities this season is making plays and creating with his legs, something I didn't know, frankly, he was capable of doing at this level. That's going to be so important against this San Francisco defense because if you let that pass rush tee off, you have no chance, and that's what happened the last time these teams played.
And Kay, I know we all love Kenneth Walker. He's been great. I just don't think he's the key to the game, right?
Yeah, like
they gotta
do
come
not light first down on fire running the ball against the San Francisco front.
Yep. Makes sense. One other thing on Geno I thought was interesting. On throws over 2.5 seconds after the snap, Geno Smith leads the league with 25 touchdowns. So there you go. I love it. All right, guys, let's get Adam Schefter back in here for some top stories. Adam, we start in Baltimore. The status of quarterback Lamar Jackson, what do we know?
Laura, he was officially a did not practice today. That makes 2 straight days of no practice, and that means he's not expected to play on Sunday night against the Bengals. The real question is whether Tyler Huntley can replace him this time as opposed to Anthony Brown. Tyler Huntley was listed as a limited participant in practice today, but there doesn't seem to be much hope at all that this will be the week that Lamar Jackson returns to the lineup and the field. Meanwhile, Sean Payton is scheduled to meet with his first team on Tuesday morning in Los Angeles with the Denver Broncos. The Broncos ownership group traveling out west. Sean McVay has gotten interest from Arizona, from Houston, from all the teams out there, but essentially the Broncos get the first meeting, and it will be Tuesday morning. And earlier today, the NFL determined that Atlanta and the Mercedes-Benz Dome will serve as the neutral site AFC Championship game between Kansas City and Buffalo, if that is indeed the matchup. We'll see whether that comes to be the next 2 weekends, but if it turns out to be Kansas City versus Buffalo, then that'll be
Our edition of the show to get you ready for Cowboys and Bucks, and you see all the rest of the great coverage. First Take in town, Get Up, Monday Night Countdown. Man, it's going to be fun. Come hang with us in Tampa on Monday. So let's get you ready for that game, okay? We got the Bucs and Cowboys coming from all sides today as Ed Werder is down in Texas while Jenna Lane is standing by from Tampa. Ed, we start with you. What's going on down at the Star today?
Well, Laura, Jason Garrett was the Cowboys head coach for nearly a decade immediately before Mike McCarthy. Many of the players on the roster were acquired during his tenure. So it was interesting that in the aftermath of their loss at Washington last week, that Garrett pointed out in his role as an NBC analyst that he views the Cowboys as less than great when playing outdoors on grass, and said it's particularly evident their pass rush is significantly diminished. Let's examine the defensive performance on grass compared to artificial turf. The Cowboys are a dome team built on defensive speed and quickness. They have a 1-4 record on grass with 8 takeaways and just 12 sacks. On artificial turf, they're 11-1 with 25 takeaways and 42 sacks. Micah Parsons did not seem discouraged by any of those stats when I asked him about this subject just a few minutes ago.
Yeah, it just, sometimes the conditions may change it too. But I think their grass is pretty good, so I think we should have a pretty good day.
While Tom Brady's average release time of 2.45 seconds is the fastest in the NFL, still Parsons sacked him twice in week 1. In fact, Parsons led the NFL in multi-sack games with 6. All of those games played on artificial turf. Overall, Laura, Parsons had 12 sacks on artificial surfaces, just 1.5 on grass.
You love to see it. Let's go to Jenna.
Yeah, Laura, so many people have pointed to the fact that the Bucs were able to beat the Cowboys in week 1. However, if you talk to Levante David, he said that was 17 weeks ago. We thought we were hot stuff back then. He goes, now they're the team with the better record, and so much has happened between these two teams. Dak Prescott was lost in that game, and he missed the next 7 games with injury. The next 6 games, I should say. And then Chris Godwin left the game with injury. So did Donovan Smith. So did Julio Jones. And with Godwin, that was his first game back from a torn ACL and MCL. He had surgery just 8 months before that. He'll tell you he wasn't 100% then. And now he trusts himself, and he's so much more comfortable. And then as far as the Bucs offense, it's starting to gel, according to offensive coordinator Byron Leftwich. He said that just the fact that they've been able to have guys back practicing consistently for the last 4 weeks, he feel like has made a big difference. He said really before that, earlier on in the season, it was just grab and go and constantly inserting new guys into the lineup.
Thanks to Jenna as well as Ed for all the latest on Bucs Cowboys. Hey, time to go on trend, where each week I bring you a current statistical trend. One of our analysts is going to tell you if it continues this weekend. We're going to stay on this Bucs Cowboys game, where Tom Brady's connection with Mike Evans has not been ideal this season. Evans struggled to get separation, leading to 7 interceptions when Brady has thrown him the ball. That's the most interceptions by any quarterback targeting a player in the NFL this season. On the bright side, the two connected on 3 touchdowns in their last game together, twice what they had done all season previously. So, Key, what do you expect out of this particular connection Monday night?
I expect for it to be a bad trend. I look at the secondary of Dallas Cowboys. I'm assuming Diggs will shadow him most of the night. I just don't see where, with this front 7 getting after him with an offensive line that's been banged up all year long and somewhat weak. So I see this trend continuing. On
to the Chargers, where Justin Herbert has thrived with quick passing. As we continue on trend, on throws under 2.5 seconds this season, Herbert ranks 2nd in QBR and top 10 in both touchdowns and first down rate. On Saturday, he'll face a Jags defense that ranks 27th in opponent QBR on quick passes. So, Key, you expect this success with the quick throws to continue for Herbert this weekend?
I do. I think that when you look at Williams and Allen, considering Williams will probably be in the lineup, I know he got banged up a week ago, get the ball out quick. It's just treat it like a normal regular season football game. Don't get all spazzed out because it's the playoffs and it's your first appearance in the playoffs. Do the same things that you've been doing all year long that got you there. And I think they'll have success in doing that. Getting the ball out quick is important.
I think in the right moments, and it's important. You know, I think that I would categorize the first time these two teams played as Justin played very hurried. And I want him to slow down a little bit when it comes to his mind. He's such a smart kid, but he played in such a hurried manner that it hurt their offense. He's right now making a decision to throw. Both those receivers aren't anywhere near the top of their routes. The ball jumps on the tailback, and the protection wasn't any issue. Here's another one. He's throwing this essentially a widened arch check down, but the out route's not even turning his head. He can drive that ball to the sideline. No one's underneath, but he's playing such a hurried manner. This ball starts over the middle of the field. You work towards squeeze. That squeeze comes from the bottom of the screen. You should throw that 7-stop or corner stop route to the bottom. Instead, Justin's just playing so fast where he throws it to the top, and that ball has to be kind of a wasted down because that linebacker moved.